It is time.
I think 2023 is possibly about to become the best gaming year of all time. It feels like I've said it a million times before over the past 8 months, but 2023 has been one hell of an amazing year for gamers. The hot drops this year so far have been nothing short of insane, with some new titles from some of the biggest franchises in gaming, and a few great new faces too. I mean, check this out. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Dead Space, Final Fantasy, Resident Evil,
Wow.
Dead Island, Stasis, Metroid, Street Fighter, Diablo, Remnant,
Wow.
Hogwarts Legacy, Hi-Fi Rush, Bayonetta, Baldur's Gate, Star Wars Jedi,
Wow.
Kirby, Pikmin, and Wait, not you, Redfall. How did you get in here? And I'm not just talking about big names that dropped the ball either. Most of the games I just mentioned managed to pull in really good scores, and a lot of these games could easily have taken numerous Game of the Year titles had they been released any other year.
Pretty good. Pretty damn good, lads!
And just by the way, we've got video and written reviews for many of the games we just mentioned, so check out our channel and website if you want to see more. Maybe the craziest part of all of this isn't that the year isn't even done yet, but it's that some of the potential best games are still on the way.
This is where the fun begins.
It's time to get all the way up on that hype train. Let's take a look at what 2023 still has in store, why it's a big deal, and why 2023 is about to become possibly the best gaming release year of all time. I'm Nick from What's Good. Let's take a look.
I'll follow you from here on out, Captain.
Grab jump is ready. I love this part.
Okay, it's time to get to the good stuff. Let's take a look at what great games are still on the way, and while we will take a quick look at a bunch of them, I'll leave a few for last so we can dig into them a little deeper. First up, we have Armored Core 6. It's a third-person mech shooter made by the guys who made Dark Souls, Elden Ring, and Bloodborne. It might be different to the games you're used to from these folks, but for damn sure, anything coming out of From Software always has our attention. And it's coming to pretty much everything except the Switch.
How would you feel about helping me kill some evil bastards?
Baldur's Gate 3 is the third entry in the revered and famous Baldur's Gate series based on Dungeons & Dragons. Baldur's Gate 3 is already out on PC, and it's now the highest rated PC game of all time on Metacritic, and now it's coming to consoles. Well, one of them for now. The Xbox version has been delayed because they're sorting out some issue with split screen on the Series S. Is it time for the Series S to lose some of its launch privileges?
Perhaps.
Either way, anyone with a PS5 who's sour about not being able to play Starfield is going to be very happy to have this to look into instead. It looks amazing and I can't wait to try it out.
Time to wake up to a new reality.
Like many of its characters, Mortal Kombat refuses to die, and this time around we're getting the reboot treatment, along with new graphics, new gore, and a few new tricks up its sleeve. It's looking really good, and it's crazy that we're already in a year where a great new Street Fighter has come out, and there's a new Tekken on the way. This is just a really good year for fighting fans.
Geppetto's puppet. We need your help.
Lies of P. It's got a hell of a strange name, but who knew we needed a crossover between Bloodborne and Pinocchio?
I can talk. I can walk.
But do the gods love their creations?
I tried the demo a while back and it felt really good, so I definitely want to dive in and take a deeper look. Better yet, it's coming to Game Pass on day one.
There's gotta be a way out of this.
Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. In a year like 2023, I feel like I might get dragged into the street and shot for saying this, but the expansion to Cyberpunk 2077 might be one of my most anticipated quote-unquote games coming out this year. I played a lot of broken Cyberpunk on Xbox when it came out, and I played a lot of the fixed Cyberpunk later on, and I love this game's systems and world so much that I'm looking for pretty much any excuse to jump back into Night City, and this is looking really good. CD Projekt Red have managed to turn Cyberpunk around pretty well, especially with how badly things went, and I gotta say I personally hope they really knock this one out the park.
Someone's head. Pull the trigger.
Welcome, Hidden One.
Assassin's Creed Mirage. People got tired of traditional Assassin's Creed games so much that Ubisoft got everyone very excited when they pivoted the franchise to a more action RPG-like genre. Well, They've managed to get everyone tired of that too now, so much so that everyone is excited to go back to the traditional AC games again. It's a hell of a strategy.
Let's see if it pays off for them.
If you like Dark Souls and you're missing Dark Souls and you want more Dark Souls, well, Lords of the Fallen is, well, it's a Dark Souls game, except that it's not Dark Souls. Early impressions of the games are good, but I just can't get over the fact that while making a game so much like Dark Souls, they opted to make the game look just like Dark Souls. Are we out of ideas, guys?
Anyone?
Either way, I've said Dark Souls way too many times now. It still looks pretty cool. Let's move on. Alone in the Dark has returned, and it's packing two familiar faces. David Harbour of Stranger Things and Black Widow fame, as well as Jodie Comer, who's from a whole bunch of apparently really good stuff that I haven't actually seen yet. Is it gonna be good? I don't know yet. What I do know is that with Dead Space and Resident Evil 4 remakes earlier this year, as well as a notable other sequel releasing at nearly the same time, it's gonna have to be something pretty special to stand out in this crowd. The Yakuza / Like a Dragon series is loved by many thanks to its quirky, well, everything. While my time with these games has been limited, they're hugely popular and a lot of people are really happy to have a new title on the way. Also, like, what a cool name for a game, am I right?
We need to roll under the radar to get this done.
Another year, another COD, and when there wasn't supposed to be one this time. Expanded content for Modern Warfare 2 has been transformed into a full-blown release, and at the time of writing this, news just dropped with fresh info on what seems to be an open campaign, a return of the Great Zombies mode, and a bunch more. Call of Duty's games are always a big deal, and this one should prove to be no different, even if it is just some sort of overjuiced expansion pack. Okay, it's time to get around to some of the best and most significant games that I've saved for last.
This story is a monster. And monsters wear many faces.
First up, Alan Wake 2. I am so damn excited for Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake was not just one of the best games on the Xbox 360, but I'd argue that it was one of the best games of the entire generation. Remedy are masters of their craft, and they're finally returning to give us the sequel that many of us were begging for. They've added a whole new main character that you play as, along with Alan Wake himself, and it sounds like they've got some really interesting ideas about how you'll choose to have the campaign progress with them. Early impressions are incredibly positive, and while everyone's talking about the next titles I'm about to bring up, mostly because they're more involved in console wars drama, Remedy might just step out of the shadows to blindside everyone with a truly magnificent game.
That was your best lap yet.
Right, now, I know that not everyone watching this cares about cars and Forza games, but I do, and Microsoft definitely does, because while Forza Motorsport isn't Microsoft's #1 head honcho release this year, it's got an important job of showing off the power of their console, the continued value of Game Pass, and carrying the torch of one of their strongest past franchises. It's looking really good, and as a car nut and racing fan, I'm just super excited to leave the horizon behind me and hit the tracks again.
Onward and upward.
The Super Mario Bros. Animated movie was so good that they've decided to give its main character Mario his very own video game. For realsies though, Super Mario Bros. Wonder marks the return of a 2D Mario game, and it's looking really good. Hot off the heels of the astronomical success of the animated movie and playing out the Switch as its successor arrives, this new Mario is sure to sell like hotcakes. A new 2D Mario is always a pretty big deal, which is why it belongs in this crowd.
He's mine.
You sure? He's got big teeth.
So do I.
Who knew that I'd be able to speak about not one but two world famous characters that have games coming out this year, not long after seeing their animated movies have massive success at the box office. Well, I didn't see that coming, but here we are. Web slinging their way out of cinemas into our hearts and then right into a new video game are our favorite Spider-Mans. Peter and Miles are back for a full-blown sequel to Marvel's Spider-Man and its Miles Morales expansion. It's a PS5 exclusive, it's looking incredible, and it should have put a lot of big smiles on everyone's faces once again. Man, Tom Holland must be feeling pretty left out this year.
Humanity has always hunted for knowledge in the unknown.
Right, last up, we have a game that is not only years in the making, but one that has become much more than just a game release. That's right, we're talking about Starfield. The ginormous, ambitious new space adventure RPG, Xbox console exclusive from the people that brought you Morrowind, Oblivion, Fallout 3, Skyrim, Fallout 4, Skyrim, and Skyrim. This game is a very big make or break moment for Xbox, who already took a very big L when Redfall flopped as hard as Dracula's last attempt at a beach vacation. Xbox has long been criticized, and rightfully so, for being unable to produce any really strong exclusives for quite a while now. Simply put, they just haven't been able to keep up with the God of Wars, Zeldas, Uncharted's, and Super Marios of the world. So they decided to try and buy some exclusives, and here we are. Fans are already sitting in first class on that hype train, while others are sitting nervously waiting to find out if Bethesda's history of launching incredibly buggy games repeats itself. It's also only getting a 30 FPS mode on consoles, and it remains to be seen if the trade-off is worth what they're aiming for, and whether or not they're able to deliver an enjoyable experience without those 30 extra sweet smooth frames that so many have become accustomed to and grown to expect from this generation. I'm always a little cautious, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't feeling a lot of that hype for Starfield. In many ways, I'm as excited for it to be good as I am intrigued to see what will happen if it isn't all it's cracked up to be. The fact that such a huge deal of a game is launching on Game Pass really is something. I can't wait to see how it's going to turn out.
Forever.
2023 really is a whole different beast. It's a year that's providing a list of games so good that any fair Game of the Year list would need to have a minimum of 10 nominees. It's no exaggeration to say that 2023 is looking to take the top spot as the best year of gaming releases of all time. So this begs the question, is 2023 going to beat out other great years to take the top spot? To do that, it needs to beat out 2 other years specifically. Firstly, it's going to need to beat out 2007, which saw huge games like Portal, Super Mario Galaxy, Uncharted, Bioshock, Halo 3, Assassin's Creed, Rock Band, and Modern Warfare drop all in one trip around the sun. And if it manages that, it needs to beat the almighty year of gaming that was 1998. A monstrous year of releases that saw behemoths like Ocarina of Time, Resident Evil 2, Metal Gear Solid,
Metal Gear? What?
Half-Life, StarCraft, Baldur's Gate, Banjo-Kazooie, Spyro the Dragon, Grim Fandango, and Mario Party explode into our lives and onto our screens. I mean, it's Ocarina versus Tears of the Kingdom, Resident Evil 2 versus RE4 Remake and Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate versus Baldur's Gate, and Metal Gear versus... Man, we really need a new Metal Gear. So now I ask you, what do you think? Is 2023 going to be remembered as the best gaming year of all time so far? Can it beat out the legends like Ocarina of Time, Portal, MGS, and Resident Evil 2? All I know is that while they duke it out, it's us gamers who are winning, no matter what. So jump into the comments to tell us if you think 2023 will be the best, and which game you think is going to take most Game of the Year awards in this downright unbelievable list of amazing games. If you enjoyed this video, let us know by hitting the like button, and if you want to catch all of our coverage of these upcoming games and more, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, we hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you soon.